Just how strong is Ohio's economy?
From the Battelle studio at WOSU at COSI, this is Columbus on the Record. Joining Mike Thompson this week, Ann Fisher, host of All Sides with Ann Fisher on 89.7 NPR News. Daryl Rowland, public affairs editor for the Columbus Dispatch. Sam Gresham of Common Cause Ohio, and Gene Krebs, former state legislator.
The likely key to Governor Kasich's re-election is the economy. A weak economy is the primary reason he beat Democrat Ted Strickland, and a stronger economy gives Kasich an early lead over Ed Fitzgerald. But a once clear trend of economic improvement has become less clear in recent months. Take a look at this graphic. This is Ohio's unemployment rate since its peak in the summer of 2010. As you can see, the state's jobless rate has steadily declined. It even started declining during Ted Strickland's final months in office. Those are the blue columns on the left there. The red columns are John Kasich's months. Now here's the potential worry for the Kasich administration. The columns on the far right, they show that the state's unemployment rate has remained pretty flat. The steady decline is gone. In fact, it's kind of creeped up a bit in the past couple of months. So, Gene Krebs, John Kasich at one time was talking about the Ohio miracle. Is the Ohio miracle over?
No, I think that if you look at Ohio is doing fairly well. I think if you look, and this is always the danger you start talking about public policy, is that there's, what Mark Twain says, there's lies, damned lies, there are statistics. I think, though, if you look at states that are run by Republicans as a group, they tend to be doing better than states run by Democrat governors. There's a lot of reasons for that, and we may have some very lucky states in that mix too that could be skewing the numbers, but I think that everybody understands it's going to be a long, slow, hard, and the hard road. But the problem still is with all these things is who gets credit, who gets blame, and when things go, when things are going bad, where does it get apportioned to? Is it goes apportioned to the president or to the governor?
Yeah. What you didn't see in that graphic was the steady climb during Ted Strickland's administration.
There's a hidden factor in that we don't want to talk about. The state government cut the local communities' monies, and with a combination of federal government dollars that we lost about 45,000 jobs. Firemen, policemen, etc. were lost. So where we saw the largest loss was in the public sector. Now that was self-inflicted by the decisions made by the current administration.
But is it the role of the government to supply full employment for people? And were all those jobs necessary?
Well, I think that's a really good question. Whenever they're running for office, it is.
Yeah.
And they're not in office, it is. It doesn't matter which party. Who's ever, in is to blame for whatever is going on. But yeah, it used to be who's running for sheriff of the state, and now it's who's running for economic development director of the state.
There's some especially disturbing parts about this last month's number. And again, everyone's right. You can cherry pick and use whatever stats you want to make whatever point you want. Not only has our unemployment rate now back even with the national rate, that was true in the old days. In fact, Ohio used to be worse. Then we got better, but now it's back even at 7.3%. You look at the last month, not only were the number of jobs down, but the workforce shrank. I think lowest in like 33 years. So again, is it a blip? Is it a trend? If this is still going on a year from now, I think there may be serious implications for the incumbent.
But you look at other things, the housing market is doing, I wouldn't say it's booming, but it's doing very well compared to where it was, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Private sector jobs, as Sam alluded to, private sector jobs are up. Manufacturing jobs are doing okay, not great, but okay. We're getting mixed signals, it seems.
Yeah, and we are getting mixed signals. And the end result of this is that because without a clear, if Ted Strickland had won the election and Obama was president, then the blame would be very clear to everybody. Oh, it's all the Democrats' fault. I don't think this time you're going to be able to establish clear blame. I think once again you look at the macro aspect of this. Generally speaking, Republican-led states are doing slightly better than Democrats.
If you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Right.
If the economy tanks, then you accept the responsibility.
But will it go to Kasich? Will it go to Obama, or will it go to Bernanke and Bernanke's
Well,
replacement?
Kasich
Or
just
the mortgage banks, or you know,
Right.
take your.
It goes to the person whose name is on the ballot.
Ballot at
then
that time.
That's who it is. It always is. It always. Let's take a look at that graphic again. And I want to look at those columns on the far right that show that the unemployment rate is basically sort of leveled off. Daryl, is there a chance that that is a permanent placement in Ohio's economy? They will always have 6.5%, 7% unemployment. Is that the new normal?
You would hope not, because there are a whole lot of people struggling, and especially if you get outside of Central Ohio, things are really bad. That without Central Ohio, those numbers would look a lot worse. So Central Ohio, relatively speaking, is booming. I mean, is it the new normal? You hope not, but who's going to pick the economic future and have any confidence in it?
And I think when you look, for example, at Cuyahoga County's not doing that well. Very few of those people were already going to vote for John Kasich. It is creating problems for his Democrat challenger, Ed Fitzgerald, because then some Republicans are saying, well, it's because of Fitzgerald. But then you've got Frank Jackson, who runs Cleveland, and I've been to Cleveland. Cleveland isn't doing that. I think Cleveland's doing better, the best it's done in many decades, but yet, once again, there's a lot of mixed signals out there, and so where do you portion it?
Let's not forget that one little overlay, that a lot of the jobs that have come back, so to speak, are not the jobs that left.
Right.
They're lower paying, they have fewer benefits, they're not what left 6, 7, 8, 20, 30 years ago.
All right, let's get to our next segment. Earlier this summer, when reports pointed out that 6 of 9 Jobs Ohio board members have ties to companies receiving state assistance, the Ohio Ethics Commission kind of shrugged it off. Now the Ethics Commission says there are potential conflicts of interest with the state's quasi-development agency. In addition to the board members, the Ethics Commission says other staff members at Jobs Ohio have potential conflicts, and that's the key word, potential. There is no evidence of wrongdoing. A Jobs Ohio official says it keeps a close eye out for conflicts and always avoids them. Daryl Rowland, the Ethics Commission seemed to wash their hands of this, a month or two ago. Now they're out with this list of Jobs Ohio and other agencies as well.
Right.
Why?
When Jobs Ohio was created, basically the watchdog status of many state agencies was stripped away because this was a privatized economic development agency. And the only thing that was really left on the part of the Ethics Commission was they received the financial disclosure statements that board members and top officials at Jobs Ohio still had to follow. So earlier this year, they were asked to enforce conflict of interest laws. They don't have authority anymore to do that. They do still have the forms. Excuse me, they are authorized by statute to look at those forms and look at, as you say, potential, not actual necessarily, but potential conflicts, and by law inform them, and also by law those pages of their previously confidential statements become public. So it's definitely a heads up. You look at the background, some seem really trivial. I own stock in Verizon. Jobs Ohio's phone service had to be Verizon. Okay. Other times there's multi-million-dollar contracts being let, and there's directors of Jobs Ohio who has interest in the companies getting the breaks.
Let me ask you this. Is the phrase potential conflicts of interest an oxymoron?
I think it's a warning. I think it's as deep as they can look right now. But I think what may happen is as the political season heats up and people have an opportunity to really dig into this.
But isn't it like you can't be a little bit pregnant? It's either a conflict of interest or you don't. I mean, the phone bill, be working for the phone company and having the phone
They
bill
don't have all
come
the
in.
information.
Yeah.
They can't say if it's an actual conflict of interest because they simply don't have all the
If
information.
you're the CEO of a company that gets a state grant by Jobs Ohio and you sit on the Jobs Ohio board,
It's the appearance. It's not whether it's the
and,
fact.
and as the season heats up, what's going to happen is this question is going to turn into an unanswered. There will be no answers for it, and then people will start filling in the blanks for themselves.
Well, I think there will be answers because the state auditor has agreed to look at not only whether Jobs Ohio is conformed with its own conflict of interest policy, which there's some questions on, but also whether there is an actual conflict or not. So at least Dave Yost's office is going to take a look at that.
Look, there's this feeding frenzy going on and this food fight, mixing all my metaphors right now, and this ethics thing going on.
be hungry. Full disclosure.
I'm the chair of the Consumers Council Governing Board, by which by statute, my salary may not exceed $900 a year. I fill out these forms. I've been filling out these forms now for a quarter century. I have yet to. I'm now 60. I need to start buying utility stock for my retirement. I should not. I should not. There's nothing in the law that says I
Because of the
can't.
conflict?
But it would appear
It's the
to be a conflict. Yeah. So my point, my concern here is that if we want the state of Ohio, especially our economic development arm, led by people who are used to investments, venture capital, and that type of stuff, if you want to follow what some of the critics of this are saying, we should go out and instead have it manned by homeless people.
Well, let me
People who have no assets at all, we all have to worry about.
Let me support Ann in her last statement that there's not enough evidence now. But I want to go back to 2 years ago. I said less transparency on this issue will become a political problem. And if you want to make new rules to cover up for it, the more of a problem it's going to become.
Yeah, all they have to do is just flip it around and say, how would they feel if somebody from the other party was in the same position? Mm-hmm. And I think that's always going to lead to problems down the road. It's just not enough information.
But when you ask the proposed Democrat candidate for governor, what would he change about Greater Ohio? I mean, about Jobs Ohio, he comes up with a very few ideas.
I would have left it to the Department of Development. The one good thing about my statement on this show is that the governor took my recommendation. He did not become chair, and I thank him for not doing it.
Did he give you credit for that?
I don't know.
Credit where credit is due.
I just don't see this. I don't see a whole lot of political profit for the Democrats on this. Yeah, I'll just agree with you a little bit on this. I think they've also made a mistake. They've made several unkind comments about the chair of the Ohio Ethics Commission, Marone Brockman, who, along with his wife Judy, are two of the most respected and indeed almost revered people in Ohio, and they have a lot of friends. And this is not this is just bad form on their part, on the Democrats' part, to badmouth these fine people.
Well, okay, Darrell, last thought.
Well, these two questions are kind of related because a year from now, we will have had 3 years of Jobs Ohio on the book. We will have had a year of the tax cuts in effect, being phased in, but still a year after they initially took effect. So that will be part of the judgment on the Kasich administration. Mm-hmm. Fair or not. And it's going to come down to very bottom line for most people. Is Ohio better off?
Where's that unemployment rate?
Yeah, where's that unemployment rate? Where are the jobs? And this stuff about transparency will become less important, I think, if there's jobs there, if it's perceived as working.
And
if it's not, that may be a pile-on factor.
And there's no problems.
Right, absent any overt scandal or something.
All right, with little fanfare and even less opposition, the Franklin County sales tax will go up by 66% in January. County commissioners voted to increase the county's portion of the sales tax by 0.5% to 1.25%. Now, for us taxpayers, the increase amounts to basically pennies for most purchases. But for the county, it means an extra $100 million a year. County officials say that they need the money to offset cuts in state aid, and half of that increase, they point out, is temporary. Now, Sam Gresham, combine this sales tax increase with the state sales tax increase, we're up to 7.5% sales tax in this county. That's a lot of money when you buy a car or a fridge or a new TV.
Recently, I purchased some major items, and I saw it in reality. I think Commissioner O'Grady makes a point, though. $41 million came out of the county's budget as a result of the cuts to local government from the state budget. That's a lot of money. I like the temporary nature of some aspects of this because it's allowing them to get on their feet.
The temporary part of it pays for a new morgue and new additions to the jail.
Right.
It'll avoid borrowing costs.
Right. Plus, they've allocated some money for economic development efforts. So if you're going to ask me to pay more tax, then spend it off into creating some economic development opportunities.
Let's talk then about the virtues of average. Because right now, Franklin County gets 1/3 more sales tax revenue per capita than the average the county should in Ohio. In other words, they're getting, as everybody who does not live in Franklin County comes into Franklin County, comes shopping, comes into work, buys lunch, they're shedding dollars everywhere. They're already 1/3 above average. Okay, so they are being funded right now, in effect, by the citizens of Licking, Madison, Delaware County. And so they're already getting very, very flush. And when I saw that they were going to raise their taxes, I'm kind of going, what? And yes, they have poverty.
Well, they have people coming in from. I mean, there's more people here. They need a bigger jail. I'm not saying I'm not defending them, but there's
their
more
per
of
capita
everything.
But
More
your per capita
expenses.
rate goes up. Then I mean, you have more people move in. They still spend money. This is they still live, and they still spend
But
money.
they cost
so that
you money
argument
too. You have to have the streets. You have to have the repair. You have to have all those things.
It
Now,
doesn't matter.
without Columbus, the economic status of Ohio would be zero.
Streets are not paid for by the sales tax. That comes through the gasoline tax. It's a completely look. The Franklin County itself is at 1/3 above average on their per capita sales tax
Before the increase.
Before the increase. Before
Now,
the increase.
We didn't hear a lot of opposition to this sales tax increase. Is it because it's only, a half a penny increase when you're buying shoes or something like that?
I think so, and I think when the state increased 0.25%, there was like Zippo about that. Now, interestingly, when the state talked about expanding the sales tax to cover a lot more items from haircuts and movie tickets and all that, then you heard the furor.
Yeah.
But
Lawyers' fees.
yeah, I mean it's an interesting thing about Ohio because the income tax is reputed to be the most fair. The more you make, and even progressively, the more you pay. But sales tax is flat and disproportionately hurts lower income. Still, it seems to be very popular among the public. It has been for years.
And the other problem here is that there is a high persistent poverty problem in Columbus and Central Ohio. And if you look at the 1950 footprint of Columbus, 1/3 of those houses are now vacant or abandoned. And so what you've seen here is an aggressive move by the city of Columbus to mask its rot within by aggressively annexing going out. And can you name the 5 things that will stop the growth of Columbus? Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, Indiana, Lake Erie.
Now, the Dispatch pointed out this week that the city income tax, which was passed in 2009, is taking in $58 million more than projected. Now, when this economy gets better, do we expect the Franklin County Commissioners and the Columbus City Council to say, we don't need all this money, we're going to roll back these tax hikes?
I have never seen a politician do that in my whole life.
They might create rainy day funds.
But
Do
they're not giving up that money.
are local officials less apt to roll back tax increases than, say, state officials or the federal government?
Yeah, I think it requires a lot of internal discipline because the moment you have the money, you have all these groups that come forward that say we want the money spent on a variety of things. The question always is are you spending the money on the right things? Are you spending the money on the things that actually have an impact, or are you just simply promoting programs out status quo?
You could argue that residents of local governments can touch what they're spending the money on more closely. Your streets are plowed and maintained, your schools might be good, and
your jails,
your health centers
you
are
got
in good
more
shape.
people
Yeah.
you need to put in jail.
But we're also changing our whole philosophy now at the national, international, and state level on what is proper jailing and also intervention.
All right, let's get to our next topic. The conventional wisdom, which is often unconventional and sometimes less than wise. Well, the conventional wisdom was that Ohio's Tea Party was becoming a major political force. It was lining up candidates to run against Republicans who supported Medicaid expansion or any tax increases. There was even talk that John Kasich might face a primary challenge. But so far, that hasn't happened. The head of the Ohio Tea Party told Cleveland.com that he has searched in vain for challengers to John Kasich and others. So, Gene Krebs, Tea Party fading away or just not a factor?
It's when you look at, and I've said before on the show, you look at what's the demographic makeup of the Tea Party. These are primarily people who have they do not have careers, they have jobs. These are often skilled tradesmen, skilled craftsmen. They're heating, ventilation, air conditioning, Joe the plumber. Okay? For them to leave that job and take on the high risk of running for elective office, which I've done, is something that their spousal unit would probably talk some sense into them really quick of you're going to do what without any money.
They'd also be
unit?
doing it against the
It's a long term we use a lot.
of the Republican Party. They would be up against the Republican Party. And I think that what they're doing, they've said that they've instead focused their efforts on winning local races. I think that's absolutely the best way to build from the ground up. It's the smartest thing they could be doing right now.
And they can, because if you are a plumber running for city council is a lot different.
Exactly.
Situation.
School board.
But they're still finding it difficult, and it's because of the Democrat. These are Reagan, used to be called Reagan Democrats. These are the inheritors of the American Republican Party, aka the Know Nothing Party. And so you look at their demographic
Did you call them the Know Nothing
Know
Party?
Nothing Party, the 1850s, just like the Whigs died.
You're saying the Tea Party is the Know Nothing Party? Okay, I like that. Go ahead.
It's exactly, if you look at the demographic structure to it, it's the old American Republican Party. The Republicans are made, you heard me say before, there's basically, you got the Whigs, which, the American Republicans, and the Moralists, which were the abolitionists, which have now become the anti-abortionists. So
That strategy will work in the rural, but the strategy of running for school board in the urban communities for Tea Party, that's not going to work.
Daryl, will if they don't run for office, will they vote in 2014? And presumably, will they vote for John Kasich and other Republicans who are more moderate?
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge question. And I think you are going to see, for instance, there's at least a threatened challenge of Barb Sears up in the Toledo area in the state reps race. So I think you're going to see scatter to that. But this has been a classic question in the past several years since the emergence of the Tea Party movement in Ohio. The We the People convention is this weekend, by the way, in Columbus. So how much power do they really have? So that's going to be a real test next year. And it's not going to be, I don't think they're going to vote for Ed Fitzgerald. It's going to be John Kasich, or skip it, or stay home.
Will the next session of the legislature be a little bit more, or a little less conservative than this one because the threat never materialized, do you think, Daryl? Or Ann, what do you think?
No, I don't think it will be. I think as long as you have that push from the Tea Party, they're going to continue to ramp up the conservatism of the candidates that are running.
And I would break them
in
into
the Republican Party.
Into two parts. There's the fiscal conservatives, then there's the social conservatives, and they're two different people. The social conservatives are still going to push their agenda. I don't see the fiscal conservatives supporting this administration at all. I think they may sit on their hands and not show up.
We got to get to our last topic. Making roads safer for teen drivers and the rest of us has been a challenge since teens started driving. Over the years, states have imposed rules designed to limit the risk of inexperienced and immature drivers. As Ohio law stands now, 16-year-old drivers can basically drive with only one friend in the car unless their mom or dad is with them. New legislation, as first reported in the Dispatch, would make it so 16-year-old drivers could not have any friends in the car with them, and they'd have to be off the road by 10 o'clock at night. Now, we've all dealt with teen drivers in our families. Mine are almost there. And under these rules, a 16-year-old could not take his date to the homecoming without his mom or dad in the back seat.
Right.
And he has to be home by 10.
Okay, right. Here's what this means. More cars on the road, more gas consumption, more gas tax revenues, more cars on the road, more carbon dioxide in the air, bad for the environment. More cars on the road, more wear and tear. The auto companies will love it. More cars on the road, more opportunity for crashes. You have two kids going to meet each other. You have two kids now going to meet each other at the theater. Two kids who are inexperienced drivers now behind the wheel. And I hope this kid never sees me or hears me say this, but a friend of my son's would still be lost in downtown Columbus to this day if he hadn't had my kid in the car with him 6 months ago when they went to a Blue Jackets game. I mean, it's good to have a wingman, and I will pull the gender car. You always think girls stay together, don't drive alone, don't be alone.
But the danger is that you have a bunch of kids in a car. They horse around. There are distractions.
They
There's
do.
texting.
That's not the
We've
alternative.
all seen these terrible accidents where 3 or 4 kids get killed because it wasn't even booze involved. They were just driving too fast.
There already are limits. That's not the alternative. Yeah. The alternative is what the status quo is now, which is one kid, non-relative, in the car at a time. So that's not the only alternative.
But conversely, I see 6 boys in a car, and they look somewhere between the ages of 16 and 18. I know that's unlawful and that's against the rules, but they scare me to death.
Okay.
I give them the road.
Okay, so right. So who's going to enforce this? They're not able to enforce what's going on now.
It's all going to be moot in about 5 years because we're starting to see the emergence of driverless cars on the road.
Oh, gee.
And when that happens, there's going to be suburbanites all over Dublin start buying driverless cars for their kids.
One more quick thing. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety is very much behind this. They want an 8 p.m. curfew,
I
et cetera,
agree.
et cetera. They say there'll be fewer crashes, fewer payouts from the insurance companies. And we have to ask, would this also mean lower premiums for teen drivers? Because as it stands, they're ridiculous.
I say to you, in all honesty, my youngest tow up 3 cars.
I think Daryl's hair is so white because he had teenage drivers in his house at one point. We're going to get to our off-the-record final parting shots. Gene Krebs, you're up first.
Since we're talking about highway safety, it's that time of year where Ohioans are completely unsafe on the road, and I'm referring to deer skittering across our highways. This is due to our most, and it's been going on for 30 years now, our most incompetent and, dare I say, corrupt state agency, the Division of Wildlife, is not bringing to bear getting down the right number of deer on our highways, and now we're starting to see the emergence of tick-borne diseases into the general population. This is an emerging crisis, and we need to get on this.
Sam.
We will have a new legislation for the expanded Medicaid, but you're going to be surprised how it's done.
Interesting. Daryl?
I just want to say it's been a few days, but still, with the Dispatch family, with Dom T. Berry losing his daughter, I just want to say all of our thoughts and prayers are with you, Dom, and that horrible situation.
Okay, I don't want to follow that with what I was going to say. Ohio's number 4 in beer making in the country. And I was thinking about that as we got started, and I looked, I'm carrying a pen that says Columbus Brewing Company on it, so there must be some credence to that, although it is sort of surprising to hear.
That big Anheuser-Busch factory on the north side helps
Might
as
help.
well. Anyway, every year I predict that the Columbus Blue Jackets will make the playoffs. The Blue Jackets start this week, regular season. Hopes are high. They're in a new conference. This year, the Columbus Blue Jackets will make the playoffs. How's that? That is Columbus on the Record for this week. Check us out online. Continue the conversation on Facebook and on Twitter. See streaming video of the show at our website, wosu.org/COTR. For our crew and for our panel, I'm Mike Thompson. Have a good week.